going on, you guys, and welcome to another video. At the time of this recording, I am officially 4 years sober without alcohol. The decision to quit drinking alcohol was something that was much needed in my life. While it may not be the right choice for everyone, I wanted to use this time to go over the 5 different lessons that I've learned over the last 4 years and then answer some of the most common questions that I've received along the way. But before jumping into the lessons, I do want to emphasize that the purpose of this video is not to judge those that do drink, but more so help the folks that are reconsidering their relationship with alcohol. I understand that we are a product of our environment and change can be scary for everyone. And my goal is that this video can potentially help maybe 1 or 2 folks that may be on the verge of making a life change. Okay, so let's jump into the first lesson, which is the people who judge you are typically the ones that are struggling with their relationship with alcohol. In my 20s, drinking and partying was a big part of my identity. It was a way for me to mask my anxiety, insecurities, and my past traumas. I knew that I wasn't facing those issues head on, but when I decided to quit, one of my closest friends at the time was the only person that either judged me or made fun of the fact that I was quitting drinking. I later learned that it was his insecurities about his relationship with alcohol that were projecting onto me in my decisions to quit. While it is a friendship that no longer exists, I look back at that situation and realize that people deal with issues in different ways, and we have to respect everybody's decision. Jumping right into lesson number 2, which is having an addictive personality is not a bad thing. If there's one thing to know about me, whether it's with work, fitness, relationships, or whatever it is that I do, I go 100% in. I don't half-ass anything. And this has been something that's been drilled into me ever since I was a child. I can still remember back to when I was 13 years old and I was cutting the grass for my grandma's house. I didn't notice that I missed a corner, and my uncle, who was living at my grandma's house at the time, went back to check my work. He saw that I missed that corner, he brought me back outside, pointed out the missed area, and I remember his words telling me that if whatever it is that I'm doing, that I do it 100% of the time. And that's something that's stuck with me ever since. Now, this could be something really good or really bad, but when it came to drinking, I would go 100% in. There wasn't just a time where I only had one drink. Knowing how my brain is wired, I now look at this addictive personality as a superpower and apply this to something positive, whether it's building my physical or mental health or starting a personal training business to help others build themselves up. Moving on to lesson number 3, which is my time is valuable. At 35 years old and after 4 years of sobriety, I realized how much little time we actually have on this earth. As I mentioned before, when I do something, I go 100% of the way in. When I would go out to drink 2 to 3 nights a week, I'd be staying out till 3, 4, 5 in the morning, drinking as much as I can for as long as I can. I typically would be hungover until lunch the next day. I've always had big dreams and ambitions to do more with my life, and I couldn't imagine what my life would be like today if I decided to quit earlier. With that being said, I don't regret my past because it did get me to where I am today. I'm here, I'm alive, and I have gratitude for everything that I've learned over the last 35 years. Moving on to lesson number 4, which is the quality of people around you will go up. When I drank, you would typically find me only at bars and clubs having mindless conversations. Now, that isn't to say that you only have mindless conversations at bars and clubs. What I am saying is when it came to my drinking and my relationship with alcohol, the purpose of me going to bars and clubs was simply to get intoxicated. And that's what I would consider socializing. It was actually like my only form of socializing was getting drunk. When I quit, I saw that the time that I spent in clubs and bars dropped dramatically. I found myself spending more times at gyms, races, and restaurants, having actual conversations with folks about deep topics, and actually getting to know people on a deeper level. Over time, I started to build a network of new friends who actually wanted to be around me versus in the past where folks didn't want to be around me because they knew me for being the guy that would always be drunk or blacked out. And so through this transition, I started to see some friends fade away and some friends start to come in. And for the final lesson, which is the power of therapy. After I quit drinking, I didn't really know who to talk to about it, as it wasn't something that was commonly done amongst my current group of friends. And my girlfriend at the time recommended therapy. Embarrassed at first, I didn't realize how much of a mental cleanse that 1 hour really brought. The same way that I would feel after a 1 hour run in a hot summer Chicago day, I felt the same thing in my head after those sessions. It was in therapy where I learned how to visualize my thoughts as clouds in the sky. My brain was the sun, and as things get a little bit more crazy, anxiety starts to build up, more clouds start to clutter the sun, clutter the sky, everything looks chaotic, and the only thing that you can think about is, when is this going to be over? In the past, I would let those emotions and feelings and thoughts take over the way that I was feeling, where today I can now look at those thoughts, feelings, emotions, and know that they're there, but I never let them overpower me, but more so observe them and watch them as I see them in front of me, know that they're hitting me, but I never let them overpower what I do that day. That isn't to say that I don't feel sadness or deep emotions. What I am saying is that when a thought of sadness or regret, whatever it may be, comes into place, I don't say sad or negative because I know that that feeling is temporary. The same way that a thunderstorm in the sky is temporary and the sun will come out eventually at some point. So instead of trying to run away from those problems where in the past I would drink alcohol till I black out to ignore those feelings, I simply sit with them, give them gratitude, because I feel like in those moments, that's typically where you grow the most. And I don't think I would have gotten there if it wasn't for starting therapy. So those are the 5 main lessons that I've learned. And now I'm going to jump into some of the common questions that I've received over the last couple years. The biggest question that I've always received is, how do I start? And my initial reaction is that you have to want this. This is the 100% thing that like you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. If this isn't something you don't want to do, you're not going to do it. Next question is, did I go to AA? And the answer is no, but I did go to therapy. I didn't think AA was the right path for me, as I knew it was something inside that I needed to change. And I really wanted to have that one-on-one connection with my therapist to walk through specific examples and thoughts that I was feeling to help push through that initial change in life. Question number 3 is, will you ever go back? And the answer is no. The reason why is I can't just have one. If you know anything about my running, you know I don't just run 1 mile, and I look at my relationship with alcohol the same way. Can I have 1 beer? I could, but I know that that isn't the end of that. I know that in a week I might have 2. We extrapolate that 3 months later and we're back to drinking vodka or whatever it may be of choice, and it kind of just goes down this negative path. So for me, I feel like this is the right path to continue down, especially as I'm getting older. It just becomes less appealing to even consider drinking alcohol. Question number 4 is, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone considered quitting? I would say start with 1 month and also schedule time with a therapist during that month to help be your coach or guiding force throughout that initial process. It definitely was a lonely time for me, and I don't know if it's something that I would have stuck through if I didn't have a therapist to bounce ideas off of. And for the final question, is sobriety right for everyone? And the answer is no. The way I look at it is, alcohol is not bad for everyone. Alcohol is bad for some people. Going sober is good for some people. Going sober may not be right for some folks. It's definitely something you need to internalize on your own and make the decision on whether or not it's something that controls your actions or the things that you say. Do you constantly find yourself apologizing to people the next morning? Are you spending money that you shouldn't be spending? Are you doing things that you shouldn't be doing? These are all things that I thought about before going sober on whether or not I should do it. And for me, I feel like this is the right path. I don't think it's for everybody. I don't judge those who do drink. I'm around folks that do it all the time. And it definitely took a long time for me to get comfortable with that again. But one thing I can tell you is that at 35 years old, I feel like I can outperform the 25-year-old version of Omar, whether it is through fitness or mental health. And again, my hope through this video is that it does help at least one person who may be considering going down this path. I know it's lonely. I know it's hard to change, but what I can tell you is that you're not alone. So I'll leave it with that. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. There are going to be a ton of exciting announcements coming here in the near future. There's a new chapter in my life starting, and I cannot wait to share them all with you. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.